Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Mew with Psyshock. Psyshock got buffed, it's a stab move on Mew, and you get there really fast now because you have Shadow Claw, which needs only 5 of them to get to that move. We're going to have a very interesting team here as well, with Pangoro, Mew, as well as the Corviknight. Of course, Corviknight is going to be able to counter most of the fairy type Pokemon that you don't want to face as a Pangoro, while also Mew is going to be just a very good face-up, generally speaking. I was a bit worried going into this team here because there are quite a lot of dark type Pokemon, but I was like, yeah, Mew most likely going to be able to do it. So this team actually struggled a little bit in the beginning when I tried playing it. Mainly also because, I don't know, I wasn't really in the mood, I think, of playing that in the evening, but I still had my sets to be doing, so I was like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna give it a try. But I tried this team then out earlier this morning again, and I actually had a great time with it. Like, it was a really strong team. It's something thing as well, sometimes depends on the mood of yourself, maybe when you play. But yeah, this team was really cool then in the morning when I played it, and I went on, I think, a 5-game win streak. And then there was a 1 game where maybe, you're gonna see it later anyway. Anyway, this team was really cool. I like Mew a lot. Mew is cool, definitely. Is it as strong as it was back in the day? There was actually a time where Mew was quite meta. That time was when it had Surf as well as Wild Shot, so of course got nerfed in the meantime. And the meta was MasteryPokemonGO, where you're going to have Shadow Claw, you have Galarian Stunfisk, where you have Surf, you had like Noctowl, we have Wild Shot. The meta isn't as ideal anymore for Mew, but with Psyshock it's gonna definitely get a bit of an increase again. Psyshock just gonna give it like a very nice, coverage move that is stab, that is doing always some sort of damage, while Surf was better in terms of the coverage that it had in the meta basically. Psyshock is just going to be more neutral, which is kinda cool. Here we're gonna see the Shadow variant of Sableye coming in against us. We're going to be able to go for the Wild Shot as well, get them insanely low, and I am gonna let the move go through here, of course, as this foul play is going to knock us out, and we can go for the full farm down with our Pangoro. They will be able to reach another move here, but it is going to be a double resisted foul play, so I actually gonna decide to let the move go through, even though it's gonna be a bit risky. I know, it's still gonna be fine, as we're gonna be able to go for a close combat against that Gastrodon. Can we still survive a Mud Slap here? We can, because he didn't go for it, and that is actually really good, because I can keep the energy for later on. Swap out of here, and now it's down to Pangoro against our Corviknight. Sadly, we are not running the move Sky Attack here, which is going to be a bit difficult. I could see definitely Sky Attack being a solid play on this team, by the way. I didn't really need Payback because my lead already had Dark type move coverage. I also don't really have Charge TM, so I didn't really want to change it. But yeah, I actually would not recommend you Payback on the Corviknight. I would recommend you to go for Sky Attack on this particular team. Usually I like Payback quite a bit, but there are definitely some matchups where if I had Sky Attack, I would have had a bit of a better time there with the Corviknight. That being said, we should have been able to knock them out here already, but with a bit of lag, they still get to Earth Power. It's not enough to knock us out anyway, and so we're gonna win this one here. Next up, great lead for us, and they decide basically immediately to forfeit here. Maybe they were just very weak against Pangoro, not too sure. But we can move on to the next one. This was, by the way, one of the battles in the morning as well, which you see in the background changing. The games are always kind of randomized here, so we're going to have some from the evening where I struggled a little bit more, and then some in the morning where I literally just destroyed everyone with this team, which is kind of hilarious. So yeah, we will see here that the opponent going to have the Drapion against us. We actually going to decide to swap out into our own Corviknight because we debuffed our own lead there, and I kind of wanted to keep this one around. Here, Payback does more damage. Payback would have been most likely the better play to go for against the opponent's Dugong, but I kind of wanted to see if I can still get to another move, which I just barely couldn't. Well played by the opponent. And so far we actually haven't really seen that much from Mew, I feel like, because we mainly saw like Pangoro doing good things, but trust me, there are going to be some cool games from Mew as well. Especially as people are getting kind of unsure on what moves that you're running in the current meta. In comes here the Azumarill. That is of course kind of awkward for our Pangoro. Like, this team is designed to have like the face-up of Mew being able to deal with the Azumarill, but also still the Corviknight to have a neutral matchup against the Azumarill. Pangoro doesn't really fit in that kind of theme, but now it's down to Mew to win the battle. It is going to be a bit of a difficult one. I tried to catch the move. I think they called this, I'm not too sure. They waited out there a little bit against the Corviknight. Well done nonetheless, because now I am going to be in a position where I can go for another charge move here. It's going to be a Psyshock. It's going to allow us to get the KO, so we're gonna get there a bit faster. If we had Surf, we would have never had a chance to do that. Now it's done against the Drapion. I know that they have a bit of energy, so I call the Awkward Tail bait, which was correct, but they swap out into the Dugong, and I barely lose there. Gastro in the lead. That is going to be very neutral for us. We see that they, I think, lagged a little bit in the beginning here, the opponent, which is of course very beneficial for ourselves, but I don't really think it mattered that much here. First comment is coming through, and we're going to be able to swap on now into our Mew, and we're going to have some neutral coverage now with the Psyshock, which is going to be great, which is definitely better than what Surf ever was there in terms of those matchups, and I do think that Psyshock is going to give you a little bit less coverage, but it's going to give you just way better neutral scenarios. And as we'll see here, we still of course have the Wild Charge. For Pokemon like the Dugong, I go for the safe play and go for another Wild Charge. Not too sure if a Psyshock would have been enough. I could definitely see that this maybe would have been already Psyshock range, but it doesn't really matter anyway because we can still go for another Psyshock, and now we finally see a little bit of play of Mew. This was something I was kind of missing as well in the evening when I tried to play this team. Mew didn't really shine that much, but when I played this team this morning, Mew actually had a lot of great matchups, so that's really kind of cool for me as well. I was a bit worried, like I was thinking this morning, do I want to try a different team or do I want to keep this team? I was like, I think this team actually should work out. I actually had like a feeling as well yesterday that this team should be very solid, but it didn't really perform that well. And yeah, I'm really happy that I stuck with it because this team actually was really nice this morning. So we will see here the Brave Bird coming through from the Talonflame. That is fine, we can go for the full farm down. And as we will see, the opponent decides to forfeit here. Okay. Here's the thing, in those battles I encountered, here by the way I make a big mistake as well, I encountered I think 3 or 4 Galarian Weezing leads. Like I don't know why this Pokemon is so insanely common right now in like the lead especially. Here they're gonna get the boost immediately. Great, nothing that I can do about it. To be fair, I like Greninja, so I'm happy that I battled this Pokemon. But yeah, Galarian Weezing, there is a Pokemon that I kind of want to take a look at anyway as well. I wonder what this opponent has in the back. I hope that we're going to see the final Pokemon because I'm actually really curious about that team. We see that we're going to knock them out. Of course, they're going to swap out here. Can they? Oh, they reveal that they're going to have the Sableye in the back. So Sableye, Sayswap, most likely Greninja in the back, and the lead of the Weezing. I want to kind of play again one of the fastest team possible, and I definitely want to play Weezing plus Greninja. Greninja has to be on there. Weezing would be in there as well for sure. So like that's going to be an interesting one. One more thing by the way as well, I made currently like a post in the community tab. Please check that one out as well if you want to suggest some Pokemon that I should try on this channel. Mew was one of them that got suggested there as well. Yeah, just take a look at the post there. Let me know down below what do you think there. And here again we have another Weezing in the lead. Like Weezing is by far the worst possible Pokemon that you can imagine for our lead because Fighting type moves are double resisted, Dark type moves are single resisted, it's just not great. But yeah, here we're gonna see the power of Mew. We're going to be able to go for a Psyshock, bait the opponent and still get to that Wild Charge against the Golisopod in order to get the shield advantage and realign. And all of a sudden the Weezing goes up against the Corviknight and they are stuck in that matchup and they're gonna decide to just forfeit the battle. I think this might be the most embarrassing battle of them all here, but let's see on how this is going to be. We're going to see that the opponent goes for a Charge move first. If I just went for the Wild Charge first, I would have been fine. I'm forced to now use a shield here. So yeah, that is already not great for us. We have 2 good answers against Clodsire in the back, which is really nice for our team. Wild Charge coming through here. We can still go for another Wild Charge. Of course, they're going to be able to force me to go for a shield with my Pangoro because they know that I know that they have Dazzling Gleam, and Dazzling Gleam is going to one-shot us. They actually would be even able to play this one out and get the KO with a Dazzling Gleam if they really want to. But they swap out into the Clodsire. And I don't know what happened here, to be fair. Like, I honestly don't really know what happened here. Again, I didn't really feel like playing yesterday evening, but that's the thing as well. Like, I always have like those sets still left there. Sometimes I leave them, a lot of times I feel like, oh, I kind of want to get my bells done and I want to see if I can climb a little bit more. I want to try out some teams. But, yeah, don't play how I played here. Like, I kind of course, needed to keep some energy, but I didn't expect that they would have got to the Stone Edge that fast here, and this completely kills the game. Like, there's nothing that I can do here. If I went for the payback, I maybe had a chance here. But then again, I would have also most likely needed a boost on my Pangoro in order to win the battle. So I'm not too sure about it. But again, this was definitely not on how you play this team. I think there was a way of us winning this battle, maybe even as well. There very likely was a dark type in the back. So kind of unfortunate. Again, I wouldn't put it onto the team. I would put it onto myself. That being said, we're gonna see here again a little bit of power of Mew. We're going to have the Drifblim. And you see, against the Azumarill there in the lead, we decided to stay in to get some nice energy, because this is gonna be very good for us, as we can go for our Wild Charge now. We are gonna be able to get the shield from the opponent, we can go for a Night Slash, and we have here the next charge move coming through, going to get the KO. They're gonna go back into the Azumarill. Made a bit of a mistake by going straight into the Pangoro, because if I waited a little bit, I would have been able to swap out here already. But I actually do like having the energy on the Pangoro. This is like the one thing that I always kind of do with this team. Trying to keep energy on Pangoro is really important, because a lot of Pokemon cannot deal with the charge attacks of this Pokemon. So yeah, that is kind of the way to go. But yeah, there were, by the way, actually a lot of really good suggestions already for other Pokemon that I should take a look at as well in the community tab. So again, if you want to suggest some, or if you want to see and they kind of influence on what Pokemon I should showcase next on the channel, just go to the community tab, like the post basically with a Pokemon that you enjoy, and yeah, would be really cool to see some feedback there. Anyway, we're going to get here the Ice Beam onto us, but I'm actually not worried about it at all, because while the Close Combat and the Night Slash is resisted, Pangoro is such a powerhouse that it doesn't really care too much. Like 3 Close Combats would be enough to knock out an Azumarill, which is ridiculous. One of the bulkiest Pokemon with a resisted hit here, but Pangoro is just so hard hitting. And there we go again, Azumarill it is, and we see on how we can deal with this Pokemon. We're gonna swap out again here, and we get out the Bastion. This is kind of the other side of the coin, I guess, where we don't have Surf anymore, which means the Bastion is going to be able to completely farm us down even, most likely. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna go for another Wild Charge here. I was hoping that I can put them into a range where they're still gonna be forced to go for a charge move against me, but apparently they can just let the moves go through here, which is ridiculous. But yeah, the Bastion is just a bit too overpowered. Bastion would be a Pokemon I would like to see as well again. Here we were able to catch a move at least, which is going to be great. It's very likely going to be the Ice Beam though, exactly. And so now it's down to Corviknight against the Azumarill. I just have to hope there's something in the bag that is going to be weak against our fighting type Pokemon here, Pangoro. I'm going to try my best to get as much damage onto them as possible. The Iron Head is coming through. I hopefully can still go for another Iron Head in time as well, which I cannot. And so it is down to now Pangoro, and let's see how this is going to go. Here we will see that there is a bit of lag. The opponent gets a free fast move in here, which should have not been the case, but it is what it is. And this is going to actually kind of, this was, by the way, the battle that kind of let me stop playing in the evening, because I was just like, I don't really want to play anymore, because I still get to the Ice Beam here in time because of this. They're gonna go now into the Pangoro, and if I had one shield extra basically and farmed on the Azumarill in time without them giving that free fast move that they should have never got, I maybe had a chance against the Emolga. Most likely not as well, but in the evening I was like, yeah, that's gonna be okay for me for the day. And I tried this team again in the morning, as you can see here, and honestly it worked so much better than in the evening. So I feel like it was just a me thing in the evening that the team wasn't working as well, plus a little bit of inconsistency. Anyway, this is now the final battle here, and this was a very fun battle, so definitely stay tuned for this one. By the way, if you enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like here. We will have the Drapion coming in against us, or we can still go ahead and go for that Wild Charge against them, which is going to do a ton of damage. We have the Psyshock coming through. It is going to allow us to get the KO against them, and so basically Mew did its job. We're going to be able to swap out here into our Corviknight, and we can go for the Iron Head, and they're very likely going to use a shield here because they have a ton of energy on this Pokemon, which they very likely don't want to waste. And so we're going to let the move go through here, and I hope there's a Pokemon in the back that is going to be weak to our Pangoro. And as we're going to get to another move here, we are still going to be locked into the matchup with the Corviknight, but they're going to reveal that they're going to have a Blastoise in the back. And I was thinking this should be fine. They're still going to be forced to go for a charge move here against me, and so they're going to end up at a maximum of 60 energy left, because they can go up to 100, go for the Hydro Cannon, which is 40, so it leaves them with 60 energy. And let's see on how this is going to go here. They're going to get to another charge move, and I was like, I should be able to get to my Night Slash in time here. I wasn't. And like, this is ridiculous. Like, they went for 3 charge moves here, basically not back to back. I know there were 2 fast moves in between, but they're also going to barely outspeed my Mew. And so good job with your party head Blastoise. Well done there. I did not expect it at all. I most likely had a chance of winning this one, but I didn't think that this Pokemon would be that spammy. But yeah, well played there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you later then. Bye bye.